But I want to begin first by thanking Professor Ahmed Mohedin for agreeing to come to Kisumu and to give a keynote address on this very special occasion. We decided to bring this occasion to Kisumu, it being the 25th anniversary. It's not 25th anniversary, it's a silver, as they call it in other language, the silver anniversary. Then there's a golden anniversary, which is the 25th, the 50th. Then there's platinum. And as you know, Jaramogi lived most of his life here in Kisumu. He moved from Maseno in 1947. He resigned, and they came and made his abode here in Kisumu. He started business here in Kisumu, and his politics also here in Kisumu. And for the rest of his life, he lived here, only going to Bondo or the weekend and coming back here. His base was in Kisumu. That's why we say that we will have a special lecture today, and then tomorrow we'll have a memorial service at St. Stephen's Church, which was also his church in Kisumu. Now, Jaramogi, as you have been told, and as some of you know, was like an elephant. Remember the story of those blind men or women who went to find out what an elephant is like. And somebody touched the tusk. Another one touched the leg. Another one, the body. Another one, the trunk. And all of them came up with the different impressions of an elephant. So here there's Jaramogi. If you go back in Jamira, Kangoka, Jaramogi, they have a completely different story about Jaramogi. But there they call him Oginga. There are those who grew up with him, those who are older than him, they used to call him this child, Nyathini. And to them, he was a Nyathi until he died. Then there were his contemporaries, and then there were those who were younger, the one he mentored. So that his contemporaries had a story to tell about him. Those who went to school with him, and as we were growing up, there were quite many around town. People like Raila, people like Akasawe Bungo, people like J.D. Otiende, people like the late Odedela Chilo, Isao Nyango, Isao Duol, Chola Haluenge, and so on. There were quite a number of Jaramogi's contemporaries who went to school with him. Then there were those who were his students in Maseno, either in Maseno school or in the veterinary. To them, Jaramogi was a teacher. He was a mwalimu. People like Ondiek Chilo. Jaramogi is a mwalimu. People like Joshua Awori, the late. Jaramogi used to call him Ayenga. And he'd say, yes, sir. To them, Jaramogi remained a teacher. And then there were people with whom he worked in business, those who knew him just as a businessman. And then there are now those, his children, the family. Our mother did not respect him as much as we respected him. As you know, the story of a police officer who at work is a senior officer, he's an inspector, so he's always a Afande in uniform. When he comes home, the wife tells him, remove those clothes. They were frightening children with them. But the clothes the children are used to. So that was how he was in the house, in the home. And even us here, as we were growing up, I was not the favorite child. We used to have a lot of quarrels. Oburu was more favored than myself. Maybe I think Brother was sometimes too rude. But Jaramogi taught us a lot of discipline at home, how to grow up. And he was a really family man when he came home. He left politics outside and was just a father at home. That was him. Now, Jaramogi has recorded his life story in this book, Not Yet Uhuru. We now have a new edition of Not Yet Uhuru. And it's a summary, really, of a very long story about himself, how he grew up, how he was identified by the teacher. His teachers, his first teachers called Shadrach Osewe. And he struggled with Osewe, how he used to run away and go and hide in the granary, not to go to school. And then how he acquired the name of Adonijah. It was given by people without consulting him. And that's why he abandoned this little one. And then he struck to Maseno with one of his lifetime friends, the late Mesha Kojal Molimu, and then on to Alliance, and then on to Makerere. So that was his. And then the kind of first, when he came back, the reason why he resigned from teaching. First, when he was teaching, and then he had gotten married to our mother, he says he met our mother at a sports function. And that she was one of the fastest ladies he had ever seen running. So after that, then she said, that beautiful girl who beat all the girls, where does she come from? He inquired, and that's how eventually was told and began courting my mother. Then in Maseno, when we were born, they were taken to the church to be baptized. And decided that we will be baptized using African names, which was something alien in those days. So when they started first Uburu, he said, Ngonga Molo Uburu. That was very strange to the padre, who was an African, Simon Nyende. He said, Weka Kando. The other one, give him a name, Raila Amolo Odinga, Weka Kando. The other one, Ngire Omodo Agola, Weka Kando. So in the end, we were not baptized, we were sent home. So then Jaramogi wrote a letter to the Archbishop of Canterbury, through the Archbishop here, if it was unchristian to baptize children using African names. The reply came back, said, no, it is not un-African, not un-Christian. You can't, because this padre had said you could use, even if the African names, some Africans who had been associated with church, like Apollo Kibebelea, Ziritse Kama, Agri Kwega, but not just Raila, somebody. And Jaramogi argued that those people he had mentioned were very correct people, and he was sure that if there was heaven, they were in heaven. So the letter came and said it was not un-Christian. And that's how we were taken back to church. But this time, our mother had rebelled, saying that she had been humiliated in front of her fellow women. She does not want Oginga is coming up with some strange names. Now, when we were taken back, our godmother was the late Grace Akinyi Omino, the late Omino's elder sister. She was going to play the role of the mother and godmother. But then our mother later on, when she realized the ceremony was going to actually take place, came to church. That's how we were baptized. Jaramogi had his way. And that is when now, during that period, when these members were there, they were fighting for increased African representation and against the injustices which were being meted against the Africans. One of them was the Larry massacre and the Hola massacre. And Tom Mboya moved a motion in Parliament about the conditions of detentions and fair treatment of the African people for the formation of a commission of inquiry. It is during that debate that Jaramogi made that famous speech, the bombshell. And this book is described as bombshell in the house. And bombshell in the house, Jaramogi says, Jaramogi said, these people, I told the council, before they were arrested, were the political leaders of the Africans in the country, and the Africans respected them as their political leaders. And even at this moment, in the heart of hearts of the Africans, they are still political leaders. Sir Charles Markham shouted, "You are going," but in the ensuing uproar, I could not hear the end of the sentence. I was interrupted by shouts, and the speaker struggled still to the house. One of them said, "Mau Mau, Mau Mau." Well, I said, maybe you take them to be Mau Mau, or you take them to be any other thing. But I'm giving you what you should know about our feelings towards them as the African people. And before you realize that, you can never get the cooperation of the African people. I was ordered to stop speaking. Jaramogi was ordered to stop speaking. Mate and Boya spoke after I had resumed my seat. Mate said, none of us sympathized with the kind of thing that took place at Lari. Genuine political activity must be clearly distinguished from criminal activity. Boya said, some unfortunate statements made in the course of the debate might create a wrong impression as to the reason for the motion. This is for an investigation into the conditions of political prisoners. The press had a field day. They reported gaps in the House when I made my speech, and the comments of the Chief Secretary, almost incredible. The East African Standard editorialized, Mr. Mboya's motion was put down from irreproachable concern for his fellow men. He and his colleagues will be quick to realize how their case has been weakened by Mr. Odinga's outburst. One paper said, let the people come forward now and hound Odinga out of political life forever. At that time, so Jaramogi stood alone when he mentioned Kenyatta's name in Parliament. Only Masinde Muliro supported him out of the 16 members who were